Beautiful day for a ride. It's a week ago that Cyclone Gabriel came to visit. Good morning. What we see behind us here is Tropical Cyclone Gabriel. The rain's been horizontal during the night, and I woke up and came out, had a look down here. Cattle group totally covered in water. Pathway to come back with my chainsaw for that one. So much damage to infrastructure around the region. We got off reasonably lightly around here. The farms have been damaged a bit, but no houses lost, no lives lost in our immediate area. That first morning, so it was Monday night, Tuesday morning that the storm hit us here, and I have never heard winds like it. So we were without power, internet of course, all that sort of thing, for several days. This road was blocked further on and back the other way as well. It was actually the local farmers that started clearing things. Like that slip back there, I could get around that, but this is an old subsidence. It's done even more damage, but it was a farmer with his tractor and that cleared the mud off the top there. And the same further up, but some of it was just too much for even the guys with the tractors and that. And so, it took about 4 days before we could get through this road. So the last we heard from our daughters, one in Hastings, one in Napier with their families, was that the family in Napier were having to evacuate, and they couldn't, and there was no road link between Napier and Hastings. Still places in Napier that don't have power back, and that's a week on, but they're hoping to get the last of the places up and running with power today, so I believe. So it was like 4 days before we could even attempt to get into town, and we were concerned because we knew that the kids would be concerned about us. We were concerned about how they were getting on, and I think it was Thursday afternoon that we managed to get back the long way the other way, past slips, and once some real bad flooding had subsided a bit, and we made it into town, checked in with the family and all that sort of thing. A lot of hills have been slumping down. At one stage we came down here to see if we could get through, and we got down to a little bit further on, and there was this slip down here, that's right, and that was much higher than that. It all come down from up there, and so we turned back and had to wait. A four-wheel drive had gotten through, but we were just in my little old ute, two-wheel drive, so we didn't want to get stuck and cause even more problems. So there's been whole communities completely isolated. Even still, there's the roads north up to Wairoa and Gisborne are completely decimated. Huge numbers of stock lost, houses completely destroyed, vehicles stuck still in the floodwaters and the mud and the silt in town, or in the edge of town. There's been some absolutely horrific stories coming through, and some heartwarming ones. People in the Esk Valley, they were hit so hard, man, it was just incredible. And they were having to break up into their ceiling cavities and up onto the roofs and that sort of thing, and it was Just on daybreak, a family up on the roof of their house, the water's roaring through, and they saw an inflatable jet boat approaching, 3 guys in wetsuits coming to rescue them, and they called out, "Are you guys the Navy?" And one of the boys called out, "No, we're just 3 Maori boys." And those 3 boys, or young men, they didn't want any publicity for what they'd done. One of them agreed, I suppose, under pressure from all concerned, to tell their story. They rescued dozens of people and just kept ferrying them back to the sides of the hill to one of the wineries, and the people there looked after them. Lost some road here. There was a big slip here, and these guys are doing all the hard work. Don't know where he's taken all that muck to drop it, but I'll just sneak past. Yep. So we haven't lost any bridges on this road. There's been lots of bridges taken out around the district and further north and all that. There was a big tree down there. Man, there's a lot of work to be done. She's slippery. So that video I put up a little while ago about potholes and things, it seems a bit of a moot point really now. So that first morning I grabbed the old phone and I went out to have a look around, just immediately around our place, and during the course of the night I was getting up, waking up from the noise every half an hour. None of our big trees came down. We were so lucky we got away with it. But I went wandering out onto the road. There's a lot of leaves and crap out on the road. I went down to have a look at the tiny little stream that usually flows down the back, and man, that was a raging torrent. Wow, that's scary. That is just a quiet little stream normally. I wonder if the bridge is still there. Holy moly. Yeah, and luckily the farmer's bridge was still intact. The bridge itself is a waterfall right now. This actually is usually dry at this time of the year. So it's all flooding off the hills and onto that lower paddock. And racing its way down there. I went around the neighbourhood type of thing, and others were doing the same, checking up on everybody. Went up with the farmer next door, the back of his farm, to have a look at the damage, and there's a lot of it. Trees down over fences, and so a lot of his electric fences were destroyed by the trees falling over them. I've been trying to help where I can, going up with him and cutting trees back, and been restoring his electric fences so he can move his cattle from the worst affected areas and back up onto wherever he needs to put them. A little bit of a washout just here. Got a few trees down in there. What do you do, man? This is like I say, this area, this immediate area, got away with it fairly lightly, really. Yeah. Looks like he's going to let us through. Oh, he's a good man. Good man. Thank you, mate. Yeah, the road got hit pretty hard down here. This was totally impassable. It's amazing what these guys have achieved so far around the whole area. And like I said, there's been heartwarming stories and heartbreaking stories coming through. People arguing at gas stations because there's very little fuel available. Apparently there's been people saying things on social media about they've got to evacuate a particular area. Oh man, they're lucky down there that they didn't get wiped out. And it turns out to be a bloody hoax. These lowlifes try to get people to evacuate from their houses so they can go and bloody help themselves. All good and bad. Thank you guys. For every bad story I've heard, there's lots of really good ones. People getting out there and doing whatever they can to help their neighbours, and there's still a couple of thousand people unaccounted for at the moment, they reckon. But the communication lines are down too, so still. So hopefully that's what the problem is. The death toll at the moment is up to 11. Hopefully it won't climb too much higher than that. Imagine the volume of water that came through here, up above these fences. All that crap on the fences is from the flood water. These huge bales of hay and baleage and that sort of thing have been washed down, and a lot of it apparently has been washed out to sea. Unbelievable, the power of nature. Certainly going to take a long time to get back to whatever normal will be after this. We just kind of felt like we were getting back to whatever normal is after the pandemic. I'll stop the road here. Just starting to fill that in again. It's amazing what these guys have been able to achieve so quickly. I mean, there are places where the road has just been decimated, and that's going to take forever. Bridges are gone. That'll, you don't construct a bridge in a couple of days, that's for sure. Oh, look at all this stuff caught up in here. Oh, a lot of the horse jumps. Gosh, the damage to crops and things has been astronomical as well. This Hawke's Bay is a major apple growing and all sorts of other fruit. A wine district. Huge numbers of orchards have been completely decimated. Some cases where two orchards side by side, one has been absolutely flattened and destroyed and the other one's not touched. Just a freak of nature. Or when I say not touched, yeah, everything's been touched in one way or another. So it's a big river down there, and it's also amazing how quickly the water has dropped as well, although it still looks like mud and slush. And on Tuesday morning when I went down there and had a look at that raging torrent of our tiny little dry stream this time of the year, and I went back later that afternoon with the camera going, with the old phone going, and it had dropped dramatically. And just a few hours later, it's dropped a lot. It's way above what it usually is. In the space of about 3 or 4 hours. But there's whole suburbs of Napier where it's flooded, and houses, gardens and that full of silt and mud. Yeah, people sure have done it hard. Lots of little slips up on pretty range there. Here we go onto the plains where a lot of the orchards and that are. So far it almost looks like normal. What is normal? Oh, the maize crop is still standing. That's amazing. Well, pretty good around here so far. I'm surprised. I know the people around here in this immediate area, they had to evacuate. It didn't look as though it was too bad. Well, that's good. Oh, well, I'm surprised how little damage there seems to be around here. I'm not even 100% sure that I can get through to Napier this way, but I hope so. I'm wanting to head into work and show my face. I have been able to contact people to let them know that we're okay, but I don't think there's going to be much in the way of driving trains out of Napier for a little while. Traffic all seems to be flowing, so we'll carry on. So this is the Clyde River. It apparently burst the banks over there at one point. Another really heartwarming story that I heard about was a lady just south of Hastings on a farm. She'd taken her cows, a small herd of cows, 23 cows or something, taken them up onto high ground, higher than the flood level got to with Cyclone Gabriel in 1988, which was the last really big cyclone that came through. Really, there's been others, but that was a real nasty one. So she took them up onto this high ground and went back to check on them a little while later, and they were up to their necks in water, and so she was calling out to them.
Come on, before the trees.
Well, that rail bridge is still intact. Oh, look at all that stuff underneath the rail bridge. Oh, the rail completely washed away over there. Oh, that is a mess. Look at that. Yep, definitely won't be any trains going down that line for a while. Holy moly. Imagine the force that was coming through here. There's beehives in amongst it, there's logs. The rail bridge is totally out over there. That's going to take a while to fix. And look at this beautiful day. And look at this bloody destruction. It's incongruous, isn't it? Absolutely incongruous. Well, this traffic's still coming, so it'll be a couple more minutes, I would say. Oh mate, we're away. So one of the stories I've heard is that the rail bridge saved the road bridge. Oh God, can you imagine the force behind all that? Just ripped that all away. Golly. Incredible. How long is that going to take to fix? All them cracks being washed out over here. Amazing. Yeah, all of that was flooded over there. Still water standing over there. I bet there's a lot of debris up on the beach, coastline. As the storm was about to arrive, there were ships that hadn't finished loading, one that hadn't finished unloading. They hightailed it out of here and went south through the Cook Strait to get around it and avoid the storm. In hindsight, I guess it was a good thing to do. They did that. Apparently the port survived. The port survived and without too much damage. The suburb over here behind these houses, I don't know about these ones immediately here, but I know the suburb over there they had to evacuate because they started getting floodwaters through. It looks like most of the Norfolk pines survived it. A very iconic napier tree these days. Alright, we'll take the, should I say, the scenic route around to work. Oh, the fountain's going. Good on them. So they must have power back. I suppose CBD, that would have been one of the first things to get up and running as soon as they could. Really, mate? Really? Yeah, it all looks pretty normal over here, apart from all the crap along the shore. Might go up and over, eh? I don't have to be at work at any particular time, so. Bit of a rabbit warren, this Matarua Napier Hill. I don't really know my way around up here, but we'll see what we can do. I'm pretty sure that if I turn right here and go down there, Shakespeare Road. Oh, we seem to be coming down through the gully. Street light's got a bit of a bend on. Oh, that'll be why. Bloody trees come down on it. Yeah. Yep. Getting close to work now. So, Napier Port is down there to the right. And the yard is just there. Oh, ain't nothing going on there. Ain't much been happening in there. The tops of those rails are very rusty. I don't know whether it was underwater here, but looks like it's dodged as a bullet. There's an old rail car in there that had come up for the Art Deco weekend, which I think was supposed to be last weekend or this coming weekend or something, but I don't imagine that'll be happening. Well, gates are open. Oh, quite a few cars here too, eh? I suppose the track guys and the bridge guys and all them will be formulating plans and righty-ho.